All right, 4 weeks till Election Day, and 13 ABC looking at all those political ads running on the air. This week, our Bill Hormann putting some perspective on 2 ads aimed at making the candidates more appealing. Bill?
Lee, we're going to look at 2 ads, one from Richard Cordray, one from Sherrod Brown. They each try to humanize the candidates. So we're going to start with Sherrod Brown.
Some say he looks rumpled,
disheveled,
wrinkled.
This ad taps into a criticism that Senator Sherrod Brown sometimes doesn't look the part. But to these Whirlpool workers, that doesn't really matter.
In 2012, it's Sherrod Brown who stood up for us against foreign companies breaking trade rules.
Along with making Brown more endearing, this ad also launches into his effectiveness on behalf of the Whirlpool company.
It has a very sort of warm-hearted feeling to it.
David Jackson's a political science professor who looks at political ads. More from him in just a second. But first, this Brown ad implies that his testimony saved hundreds of jobs. But Republican Senator Rob Portman testified as well. And President Donald Trump is the one who cracked down on the cheap Chinese imports that had hurt Whirlpool. But back to David Jackson. He says the ad's personal touch, like the one in the beginning, helps voters better understand the candidates.
Who they are. Are they likable? Are they trustworthy? Are they honest? Are they a strong leader?
This former tough-on-crime attorney general?
This 15-second Richard Cordray digital ad has the same format, briefly mentions his hard work, and makes him more likable by giving water to a dog.
He's a nice, tough guy.
The hokiness is meant to be humorous and is meant to say, yeah, I am what I am.
Now, visually, this ad has a trendy coffee shop in a downtown neighborhood look. Perhaps that's a subtle nod to connect with millennial voters. But both ads use a format that might disarm you, especially if you're tired of all the political attack ads.
They take the candidates as they are. They take the candidates' perceived weaknesses and try to convert them into a strength.
Now, we should say there was trouble with that Brown ad at Whirlpool. It didn't have a disclaimer saying that the Whirlpool Corporation was not endorsing Sherrod Brown. Both the Ohio Republican Party and even Whirlpool complained, and then the Brown team later inserted that disclaimer. But regardless, both of these ads show how candidates tap perceived negatives and try to create a more positive impression. Just a little perspective as we do some spot checks of the political ads this year, Diane.
Thank you, Jay. Well, 14 days until the midterm, and 13 ABC is looking at the political ads you see on television.
Certainly a lot of them getting airtime, not easy, and it is expensive. So what do so-called down-ballot candidates do to get their message out?
13 ABC's Bill Hormann continues his Spot Check series tonight with some analysis of ads you may see from candidates you may not know.
Yeah, no doubt you've done this. You've gone into the voting booth, you see a race, but the names just aren't familiar to you. You want to vote, but what do? Well, imagine the candidate's side. They want your vote, but getting ad time on television's a struggle. We've shown you a lot of ads in this series, but the big races like U.S. Senate and Ohio Governor dominate airtime. Yet candidates in local races like Judge, State House, even Commissioner need to get your attention as well.
So what the down-ballot candidates are trying to do is get people to pay attention to that race and give them something to hold on to remember the name that they want them to remember in terms of who they're trying to get them to vote for themselves, of course.
Professor David Jackson monitors political ads.
Go with Joe.
Joe McNamara is running for judge. His ad is light on specifics, but has a short rhyming slogan that David Jackson says voters may find memorable and breaks through the monotony of all those other ads.
When they scan down the ballot and see, Joseph McNamara, they're like, oh, that's, that may be worth some votes.
Go with Joe.
Then there's this ad from Republican Teresa Gavrone. She's running for the State House in a typically safe Republican district.
Because character matters. And
Gavrone has heavy ad rotation on the air right now. She may want to improve her name recognition in her down-ballot race for reasons beyond this election.
So the ability to win in Wood County by a decisive margin may, in fact, be something valuable for your political career in the future.
With my proven, qualified experience, I am prepared to be your voice here.
Donald Douglas is running for commissioner in Ottawa County. Getting airtime on Toledo television would not necessarily help him.
And what's the point, right, when the vast majority of the audience aren't people who will have the opportunity to vote for them?
But Douglas wants to win his down-ballot race. He's micro-targeting through social media, reaching only the audience he needs by bypassing television, yet still improving his chances of getting you to remember him when you stand in the voting booth. So, despite the crowded television space, down-ballot candidates can still create an impact. If it's through television, something short and catchy that gets your name out can work for you. If you don't need to reach a lot of television viewers, well, micro-targeting can get your name out there just as effectively. Just a little perspective as we spot check those political ads this week, Lee.
3 weeks until Election Day, and we are following the ads, putting perspective to what the candidates are running on television.
And tonight we're looking at the central message in the ads of the two men running for Ohio governor. 13 ABC's Bill Hormann is here now with this week's Spot Check. Bill?
Richard Cordray and Mike DeWine are falling into typical Democrat and Republican stereotypes, and there's a reason for that.
Mike DeWine is fighting back, locking up drug dealers.
Mike DeWine is the law and order candidate in the governor's race.
Mike DeWine sued to gut protections for people with pre-existing conditions, so they can drop you right when you need them the most.
And Richard Cordray is the candidate who will protect us. At least that's what their ads imply. Cordray's campaign is focusing on health care and pre-existing conditions.
If insurance companies do not have to pay for pre-existing conditions, my son won't get the blood thinners he needs.
A handful of ads claim Mike DeWine wants to take away pre-existing condition coverage. As Attorney General, DeWine sued to overturn the Affordable Care Act because of the mandate that forced you to sign up or pay a hefty fine. Republicans generally insist pre-existing conditions must be part of any health care plan, and DeWine has supported that position for 25 years. But if the ACA was overturned, the pre-existing condition element would have ended as well. But DeWine did not sue because he wanted to end pre-existing condition coverage.
In a 30-second attack ad, the idea of complexity, nuance, subtlety is not something that the candidate is seeking to present.
Professor David Jackson from BGSU says the Cordray focus on health care.
It means more crime, more break-ins, more robberies.
And DeWine's law and order call against Cordray's support for issue 1 are easy ways to set up a contrast and own an issue.
They are seeking to simplify the issues, create guilt by association, create negative feelings, anxiety and anger about your opponent, and create positive feelings about yourself.
Issue 1 would keep some drug offenders out of prison, save some money, and emphasize treatment. DeWine claims it's Cordray's plan, but it's not. However, Cordray does support issue 1.
Anything that's simplified is inherently misleading.
And these ads are repetitive.
Richard Cordray's policies are dangerous. Say no to Richard Cordray.
Mike DeWine is with the insurance companies, always been with the insurance companies.
But the repetition works, even though these ads may not persuade.
Both of these commercials are designed to get the base of the party energized and enthused.
Jackson says turning out the base will determine who wins this election, so the candidates relying on their party's stereotype to boost morale. Each is focusing on one major issue, either law and order or mental health, to win in November, even if their arguments are a bit misleading. That's just some perspective in tonight's Spot Check, Diane.
Well, after tomorrow, you won't see any political ads for a while.
And for one woman, that'll be just fine. She's so upset by all the negative ads, she decided to log what she's seen and tell 13 ABC's Bill Hormann what she thinks. Bill?
Yeah, Lee and Diane, consider this a postscript to our Spot Check series. Donna Myers fed up. She wants to hold politicians accountable for polluting our airways with negative campaign ads.
This is one.
You can call Donna Myers a campaign critic. She's seen ads that she's liked.
That's a good one.
Richard Cordray, lying.
And groaned at the ads she didn't. And with her phone in her hand,
I think this is issue 1.
she's taken notes about every single political ad. 4 ads in a row.
Yep.
You were busy.
Yes. And 3 of them were negative.
Candidates for offices ranging from judge to state house, governor to U.S. Senate have run thousands of ads this campaign season. And sometimes it's the two candidates who are squaring off against each other who are
Yes.
So you really get a sense of compare and contrast.
Yeah. And overload.
Donna got fed up with the attack ads, so she started logging everything she sees and created a spreadsheet of candidates, office, and whether the ad was positive or negative.
Okay.
As of this morning, Donna logged 219 attack ads, 156 positive ads. And Richard Cordray, 46 attack ads and only 6 positive ads?
Yes.
But look at Mike DeWine, 11 and 48.
48 attack ads.
Yeah, the number of attack ads is almost the same.
Donna knows both parties are guilty, and nearly every single candidate bases a campaign on tearing down their opponent. She's singled out the governor's race as especially negative this year, until this weekend.
And the thing I've also noticed is that with both of them, the more positive ads have been within the last few days.
Those are called closing ads.
Yes.
And they want you to feel good about them.
Well, but the problem is so many people have already voted.
Perhaps those early voters were influenced by all those nasty negative ads, or maybe nothing a politician says in an ad will change any minds. But still, Donna wants to hold the politicians accountable. Overall, you upset with these politicians, or do you understand what they have to do to get elected?
I understand what they're doing, but I don't agree with it, and I want them to change.
And now hear this, Donna plans on writing letters to the winners in this election and to all the candidates running in the next election. She wants to implore them to produce positive ads. Let's see what impact she has, Diane.